We do have a quick little story, and this was Dominic's bread and butter for the week. New York Knicks head coach Jeff Hornacek said that next offseason could be a big one for the Knicks, saying that the triangle offense can lure in free agents, and the triangle offense, it's actually a system that doesn't call any set plays, which is interesting. You see a lot of plays in the NBA. Triangle offense does not have any set plays, but it rather looks for defensive weaknesses and passes are made. Not a lot of putting the ball on the ground, not a lot of dribbling, a lot of passing the ball around.
It's a lot of shooting or finding guys.
Right.
Really what it's about is, so I think the triangle offense is something that we talk a lot about in basketball and yet don't fully understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this is anyone's fault necessarily. This is just the way I feel like this, because it's not popular, but it's a popular talking point. Mm-hmm. One, because we had a guy win 11 NBA championships off of it with our man Phil Jackson, who the thing with the triangle is it's a philosophy, not to get too zenned out on you, mm-hmm. But I mean, but really it's a philosophy. The set play is finding the defensive weakness. So what you do is you have a guy under the basket, 3 guys on the wing, and then you have your guy over here off screen on your weak side. And what you do is you have 3 guys pass the ball to each other until they find a weakness with maybe that 4th or 5th guy. And so it's just nonstop passing. But Carmelo Anthony literally stops the ball. I mean, I don't know if I really blame him because he's one of the best players in the league. But
you wouldn't know with the way the Knicks are playing.
You definitely would not. And so you're running an offense which is meant to pass and not really dribble, and you give it to a guy who loves to dribble in the low block and do a fadeaway jump shot or go to the rack or do a number of things that he definitely is capable of doing. But it's one of those schemes meets skills things where the clutch is not. I mean, it's grinding right now. It's not going into gear, and that's clear as the Knicks are definitely not making the playoffs. They're not mathematically eliminated, but eliminated in a common sense type of.
Yeah.
And so, my question to you, as a Knicks fan, would you, as a free agent, I guess, who would legitimately sign with the Knicks?
Yeah.
I'm not a Knicks hater. I'm not a Knicks hater. I'm just saying.
Just the way that it is right now.
Yeah.
So we talked a bit about this pre-show, and I'm a big Jeff Hornacek fan. I really do like him. I think he will be a good head coach, given the chance. In sports nowadays, you see so much. You don't give me the results right away, you're gone. I hope he does stick around for more than a year.
You do like him?
Yeah, I do like him. But I don't think that the triangle offense is necessarily an attractive thing, especially when you already have your main shooter on the team with Carmelo. And the state of the Knicks right now, I just can't see anybody showing true interest in coming over to New York, which for the first time in history, as far as my lifetime goes. And excuse the sound here. We are on Broad Street. There's always a parade of ATVs and dirt bikes going down the street. So excuse the sound if it's interfering at all.
Bunch of 2-strokers and 4-strokers ripping up the quad, shredding the gnar here on Broad and Gerard. This is Tyler Young. I'm Dominic Barone. We are coming to you live from Broad and Gerard on Young and Dominant Sports Talk right here on Facebook Live. We were talking about the New York Knicks and how they are an unattractive team right now.
We actually have a comment here on your Facebook Live video from Mike Gable.
Okay. What's up, Gable?
He says that nobody wants to go to the Knicks because he thinks that they have to build through the draft in order to become a viable option in free agency again. So I think, Mike, you and I are on the same page here. That's exactly how I'm feeling too.
Nice. Thanks for checking in, Mike.
Given the opportunity, I don't even know if I'd sign with the Knicks at this point. That's how much in shambles they are. So, unfortunately, with the Knicks, and you said it last week, you need to have the Knicks, the Sixers, the Lakers, and the Celtics. Those are the 4 staples that
this league.
You have to have those teams be good in order to have big time viewership. And then
the Clippers didn't do well for so long.
Yeah.
And the league was fine.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying the league's not fine as it is. It's just, and I guess maybe those teams are changing as far as their importance. If the Warriors don't do well, I think that's one of those teams that needs to now, in this point in time, needs to do well. We have teams like the Rockets where if they don't do well, I just don't know if it really matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if it really matters.
Well, yeah, you need to have those big, viewership sectors being able to tune in, and nobody wants to tune in on these. I mean, literally, the only one of those 4 teams right now is the Celtics, and I think they lost to the Sixers yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. So what are you gonna do? You have 3. You have one of your 4 big teams essentially doing well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And especially when you're talking about like ownership value and worth. Like the Knicks are the most expensive franchise right now in the world. At $2.4 billion, I think it would be their selling price if they would sell. Sixers are not quite up there, but they're not nearly towards the bottom like maybe the Pelicans would be, or the Timberwolves would be. And the Lakers will always be an expensive team because you always have Hollywood showing up. And with Boston, obviously, I don't even think there's even a price on anything Boston.
Yeah.
There's no price on the Patriots or the Bruins or the Red Sox. All those teams are very storied, which brings me back to this point of how could no one want to go to the Knicks? Mm-hmm. And I think I said this last week, and this will be my ending point, is that if you're going to run the triangle offense, the best person who can run it should be running it. Phil Jackson should be coaching this team.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if that's his interest point at all anymore.
It's not, but that's not right of him to, as a president, hire a coach and tell him how to run the team.
Right.
He did it with Derek Fisher, and Derek Fisher sucked at it.
Right.
And that's why.
Well, the team really. I mean, if
it's
you
not built for this.
You looked 3 years ago. You saw the Zen Master come in. I mean, I know I was sitting there. I remember the exact moment that it was announced. I was sitting in a barbershop in East Stroudsburg, and I remember the barber saying, "You know what? Knicks are winning the championship within the next 3 years."
And here we are now, 3 years later, talking
about it. That has not happened
about
at all. And the team's been in shambles ever since Phil Jackson came by.